Welcome back, Mush Love from the Mushroom. It's Jer, it's Danny Camp Fitness, the rapper singer. He's got music coming out weekly. Make sure you check it out. I just had a nice weekend at the beach. I'm relaxed and chilling, but good to be back. We had last week off, but we are back on schedule. So thank you. It is May 24th. We are a week away from Memorial Day. Having a great time. Just want to say anything, Danny, before we get started talking about some subperceptual feelings?
Nah, nothing. I mean, I got my Have a Nice Trip shirt on today, so
I love it.
ready to have a nice trip on this podcast today.
Dope. Sounds good. So basically, a fun little fact I think would be cool to start us off. So everyone washes hands. I hope, especially after the last year. About a year ago, there's like campaigns to wash hands, which was hilarious because people should probably wash their hands after they go to the bathroom and stuff anyway. But with washing hands and hand soap, a fun fact I heard a couple years ago is basically they have soap, or when they invented soap, that there were no suds, but people didn't know when they were clean or they didn't feel clean because they didn't see the suds. So the suds were actually added in for people what to know basically when they were clean and to like feel the feeling of clean, even though they were clean with something similar to like hand sanitizer, let's say. So that reminded me, or the reason I bring that up is with microdosing, something we've been talking quite a bit about. Um, I like to I like to take about 0.05 to zero point 0.1 a lot of times. I feel like less is more a lot of times. But also, I do like to feel a little something. And I might take like 0.15 to zero point 0.2. It's probably about where I start like feeling it a little.
hmm
But what I've noticed with a lot of people in our little community of people we know that are microdosing, a lot of people seem to want to feel it. What do you think? Do you like to feel it? Do you think it matters? Do you think that's losing the point of microdosing or what?
yeah. So I mean, in my mind, microdosing is kind of supposed to be right on the threshold of subperceptual. I think, especially in Western culture, there's a problem where if we're not, like you said, if we're not seeing the soap on our hand, if we're not seeing it foam up, we don't think we're clean. We rely on our senses very much in the West to dictate our feelings, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is kind of counterintuitive to the process of microdosing. I like it right on that kind of threshold, but honestly, I've kind of experimented more recently because I'm the same way. I would normally take about a zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2, and for me, that is right below the threshold. I feel a nice background happiness, but it doesn't feel like I'm actually tripping by any means. Recently, I tried experimenting with like maybe like a zero point 0.3 to a zero point 0.4, a little bit stronger microdoses, and definitely felt it. The one day I took the zero point 0.4, I noticed even the way it, in my perception, I feel like it messed with the timing of it too. For some reason, I
Mm.
felt like when I took a zero point 0.4, it was like I drank 2 cups of coffee. I had like this extreme burst of energy for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then after that, it tapered off, and then I almost didn't notice any of the lingering effects at all, which that might have just been, my metabolism that day or whatever. That could have been an isolated experience. But
Mm.
I kind of didn't enjoy that. It made me almost uncomfortable. It made me feel a little bit too jittery. And after that, I kind of dialed it back down to taking like the 0.15, zero point 0.2, where I barely notice it. And I feel like it had more elongated effects when I was taking a lesser amount. It was super subtle, but I felt it persisting throughout like a 6 hour period and just, bringing positivity through my whole day. I've also had some experiences with friends who they've gotten their own microdoses and they're like, oh, if I take 4 of these, before a party, am I gonna trip a little bit? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
theoretically, yes, but that's so counterintuitive. Like, and it's also not cost effective. Like,
Right.
if you're gonna have
Yeah.
capsules, that's like way more expensive than if you just took a gram of mushrooms or whatever. I don't understand the logic in that, and that's like, it honestly makes me sad because like I'm like, yo, don't
Yeah.
don't treat the microdoses like that. That's not what the point of this is
Ex-
for.
exactly. I don't really like to hear that when people tell me. If
Yes.
people want to do that, it's their choice, I guess. But I'm with you. It's like the whole point of microdosing is to be subperceptual. If anything, maybe take 2 of them to get to see what that's like. But to take 4, 5, 6 is what's the point of that? And the thing too is actually, I would I'd argue that a little bit. I know actually a couple people who've done 4 or 5 to get into like some deep meditation, which that's pretty cool. I guess they don't want to like tripping on meditation is awesome. I guess they don't want to get that far, but they want to have like these deep meditations where
Right.
if you have a good intent and it's not just to like party, I guess I'm a little bit more for that. But to use it to party, I wish people didn't share that with me, I guess, as much. I guess another question I kind of have while thinking of like why back to like the suds or people just wanting to feel it to know it's working. And you were saying in Western society, people like use their senses to know what they're feeling or rely on their senses to know what they're feeling. Do you think part of it is maybe because people don't trust that it really works because it's such like a new thing that they feel like if they don't feel it, it's completely placebo and nonsense. But if they feel it a little, it's easier for them to believe that it's healing them.
100%. I mean, especially if you're getting your microdoses from someone you don't know, or if it's not, like a
Hmm.
reliable source.
Good point.
It's completely understandable if someone on the internet sends you microdoses or something like that, and you don't know, and they're not, someone, or you're not in a community, you haven't heard from other members of the community. It's skepticism is valid. You know what I mean? That's completely understandable. So I could understand if people aren't feel it's so subperceptual, they're not feeling it, and then they want to take two or three to realize, oh, there actually is a psychoactive component of this, and then they dial it back down. I could kind
That's a
of
great point.
understand. I could kind of understand that logic. But yeah, I just think that's more of a cultural thing. Like I said, in the West and Western culture, like I think in more like Buddhist philosophy and over in the East, they emphasize feeling and without the need of senses and stuff. And that's something that microdosing, to bring it full circle, has helped me with, is to help me feel without relying so much on my senses, because now it's like, okay, I don't need to see to believe. You know what I mean? There's this kind of like, and almost every religion there's the concept of faith. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, like you can't see the wind, but the wind is there. You know what I mean? Like I guess
Mm.
you can feel it against your skin. Some of your other senses can pick it up, so you still are aware of it. But yeah, I think in entry level spirituality, so many people are so reliant on their senses that gets in the way, especially in meditation. Like when you meditate, it's sort of like you go into those void states where you're completely almost out of body and you're not even feeling any senses. And that's actually where the magic happens. So I think it is a little bit sad that we're so reliant on our sense organs, because that is very limiting in the world of spirituality. And it kind of keeps you from transcending past a certain point if you're constantly relying on your sense organs for feelings.
Hmm. I as you were saying that, I feel like I actually remember. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not like above it. I want to feel things to make sure they're working
For sure.
also. So what I just remembered, and you were doing some breath work earlier, which I think is awesome. It actually motivated me to do some breath work, which
Good.
I appreciate. But what's it called, when I first did Wim Hofing,
Hmm.
um, I had no idea what I was really doing or what to expect. I was more of interested in the ice bath. I didn't really know what the breathing was as much.
Right.
And then something I really, really, really enjoyed that I tell everyone about it when I talk about it, I probably told you when we first met, is the people that ran my workshop had a pH strip that they had people go and piss on before the breathing, and my pH levels were acidic, like pretty acidic. And then we did the breathing exercise, and 30 minutes later, I pissed on the strip again, and I was in alkaline.
Yeah.
And it was like a 7 point change on the pH scale.
Like a
Um,
point
and
seven,
it
I
was
guess.
yeah, I get confused. And point seven is base, right? Or some, or
Well, no,
seven is base.
seven is neutral. So if you're above
Seven.
seven, it's acidic, and if you go below, then that's alkaline.
I think I went from like a 12 to like a 5. Um, so down like 7 factors, whatever that rate is. But it was like a drastic difference where I was like, this isn't a fluke. Like the colors are way different. It wasn't
Right.
like a bad test. And that to me, I saw little colors and stuff. Like I think I had a little DMT release when I did it, but
Hmm.
um, that is what made me believe it more because there was something right in front of me measuring the change. It's like, oh,
Mm.
the breathing exercise really worked. Where I guess it'd be cool or nice if for microdosing, maybe there's something like that that you could test, like your heart rate or something, where uh, I don't know, maybe something like that will come out eventually too. Who knows?
Yeah, I think as more research and more studies go with microdosing, because there's a lot of independent variables that it could affect that people aren't measuring yet. But I think
Very true.
as the world of microdosing expands and there's more curiosity, I know some people were talking about anecdotal experiences of it lowering their blood pressure. People who were like would take blood pressure meds said that it actually microdosing helped lower their blood pressure. Maybe that's because you're breathing in a slower pace, and that allows your heart to be more efficient. I don't know the logistics of it, but I think there is a lot of independent variables we're going to learn about, and they're probably going to be positive. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the microdoses that we try, just to be clear or transparent with everyone else, actually usually have a few other mushrooms in them, like lion's mane, reishi,
Right.
shaga, whatever. So I'm curious if maybe that has an effect also,
Definitely.
or if the psilocybin enhances that effect is possible. Something I've definitely noticed way too often commented where there has to be something with it is a number of people are saying they're drinking a way less coffee. And that was one of the biggest noticeable differences for me was like I used to drink 8 cups a day, and now I probably drink like 8 a week, which is still probably more than I need. But I could tell the difference instantly I didn't even know, I didn't even realize it until like 2 weeks when I was like, yeah, I haven't made a cup of coffee in a while,
I
when I usually do it every day.
Anecdotally, because I was getting to the point where when I was younger, I wasn't much of a coffee drinker because I'm very naturally wired, as you can probably tell. I haven't drank coffee today. I can always talk 1,000 miles a minute, but I noticed the moment I started microdosing, when I drank coffee, I would drink coffee and it would be extremely unenjoyable. Actually, like I would notice, I'd be more hyper aware of like, oh, I drank coffee and now my heart rate is up, or like my leg is jittering, or I'm sitting here and I'm a little bit manic when I'm talking. And I think that's because it's sort of like an internal tug of war where the mushrooms are trying to do. First of all, we'll talk about the fact that mushrooms, we were saying, can help facilitate an alkaline state. Coffee is super acidic. Coffee
Hmm.
raises your heart rate. Coffee has a lot of, I mean, there's some positive health effects of coffee, but I think overall it's,
In very limited amounts though too.
yeah, I think overall coffee is probably not the best for you, especially if, like you said, you're drinking multiple cups a day. That's really acidic for your throat, your stomach, and over time, I don't think that, and your heart especially, like having a constantly elevated heart rate. You know, your heart only gets so many beats in a lifetime, so you're using up more of them. So I think that's why it's like you start microdosing, and there's this internal tug of war where the microdose is trying to facilitate one thing that is the opposite of what coffee's doing, and then there's this like tension, and then that tension makes kind of both experiences unenjoyable because it's like you're not really getting the effects of either. They're almost canceling out. And yeah, I totally agree. I haven't drank coffee in weeks now since I've been microdosing because I just like I realized I'm like I don't really need this. I have good natural energy. I don't need to be tweaked out like manic all the time. So
Y- Yeah, I agree. And then I guess one of my last thoughts, or most likely my last thoughts, I guess, on the whole thing that I think is very important that I've been promoting a lot, but I'll admit I haven't been doing as much as I should,
mhm.
is I think journaling is super important because journaling is something I think you might not realize things in the moment, but when you look back on your journal a month later, you might notice trends, and that'll tell you that the subperceptual feelings, if you're actually doing it subperceptually, are actually working because you'll look in the journal and you'll be like, oh, wow, like I used to be pissed off 30 days a month every day, and I haven't been pissed off in 5 days. And you'll notice trends like that, and that will, to me, that'll like show you that it's working, or a way to analyze instead of like taking 3 tabs and or capsules and oh, yep, this is working.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I haven't been journaling as much as I would have liked to, just out of lifestyle shit right now. I've been so busy and stuff, but completely
Yeah.
agree because even when I'm not microdosing, there's been times like I remember for my project Catch 22, there was like one black notebook I had from like a 2 to 3 year period of my life when I was like first with a girl and then after the breakup, and like I got to see, and then reading back after I put my project out a couple months ago, now that I'm in a very good positive state of mind, I was reading some of it and I was like, oh my God, this is dark. Like you were really in a
Yeah.
bad spot. And in the moment, it be like you said, it becomes normalized. I was in that bad spot all the
Right.
time. That was just like, oh yeah, I hate life. I'm
I'm just
angry.
writing.
I'm resentful. I'm just right. Yeah, exactly. Getting it out. But once I reflected back, and now that I'm in such a positive state, I was like, oh my God, I feel sorry for that kid who was in that place. And now that I've cultivated way better habits, it's really it allows for reflection. I'm like, wow, I have come a long way, because I'm someone who's very hard on myself. And talking back to our initial topic of like, if I don't see the change right away, or if I'm like, it's hard to measure day to day change. But then I look back from even 1 year ago, I was like, oh my god, it's a polar change from completely cynical and angry to happy, leading workouts, trying to help other people cultivate positivity in their life, paying it forward in that way. So yeah, that's journaling is powerful, especially when you're getting into microdosing. I'm guilty of not doing it for when I started, but if I look at the difference from 6 months ago to now, I mean, it's obvious in my entire lifestyle. So
Definitely. And then this is really my last thing I'll say, because it's going to be a shameless plug. I'm not associated with Mushmore, but I know the people who do Mushmore, and they're coming out with a journal that is going to have a Fadiman protocol version and a Stamets protocol version, where each page that's a page that you microdose will be a different color. So it'll be
oh,
a
I love
cool way
that.
to go back through the pages, and you'll be able to like just analyze the microdose days, or you can go back to just the days after the microdose days
Mm.
in just an easier way. Makes it, I think, a little bit more fun.
That is
And
such an amazing idea. I get behind that for sure. Mushmore's doing amazing things, man. I love that company.
hell yeah, we'll have the journals hopefully within a couple months. We'll show them on, and we'll try them out.
Cool. I'm
But I
excited
think
for it.
that's all I got to say. You have any closing statements?
Nah, just have a nice trip. Much love, and yeah, keep paying that positivity forward, everybody. I mean, the world seems like it's kind of opening back up, and things are going back to our what normal was. Obviously, there's still a lot of variations in society, but let's try
Yeah,
to do a good job of being kind to each other and not take for granted this new freedom we have, because things can be taken away at any time, as shown by the pandemic. And I think to keep things moving forward, especially in a time where resources are running low and the world is in in the Middle East, we got a lot of conflict going on and stuff. Yeah, let's just keep trying to be kind people to one another and pay that love forward. That's what we're here to do.
I love it. Much love from the mushroom.
Much
Peace
love.
and love. Have a good one, brother. Talk to you soon.
Peace, peace.
All right, that was
Cool.
awesome. That was I'm glad you remember that, because that was a great topic. I like it, and I'm glad we talked about that.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
going to. This is what I'm gonna do actually right now. I'm gonna start um a Word document, because I always say I'm gonna and then I don't. But
Cool.
um, because dude, I forget like what we talk about after the fact too.
Right.
Where I'm like, yo, did we talk about like dosage before? Or did we talk about this? And I like sometimes can't remember unless I watch it.
Yeah.
Where I want to even just write down um what's it called?
Oh, yo, are
What
you
we
are you coming to Vermont?
I don't think I'm gonna make it, but it's definitely still a slight possibility. When are you leaving?
It's gonna be a Friday to Monday thing. I think we're leaving like Friday morning.
Friday to Monday. I would probably be going later in the weekend, like Saturday. I'd probably be going like Saturday to Monday.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, it's still a possibility. I might go back to LBI just because that was too chill.
Yeah, bro. No pressure either way. Soraya called me today and she was like, "Is Jeremy gonna come?" And I was like, "I'll
Oh,
talk
nice.
to him." And
How's the workout yesterday or
bro,
whenever that was?
oh
Yeah.
my god, the first one I was like not super like assertive, I'll say, because it was just like my first time. I also had that performance the night before and I was so hungover and stuff,
Yeah.
and I was kind of like I so Ray was kind of showing me some workouts that I wasn't super comfortable doing. She's like, "Oh, maybe you could do this," and it wasn't like I didn't have the reins completely. And when I'm doing something, it's all or nothing. That sounds kind of toxic, but I like need to kind of have creative control if I'm going to be the one leading.
Right.
And certain, especially with working out, like I need to do the things that I need to know how to do. And bro, this time I wrote out the workout the night before, and it was brutal. Like it was is this one workout that I do on my own. It's because normally I do like weights, like dumbbell type stuff, and then once a week I do this one aerobic based workout, which is all like jump squats and like just body weight movements and shit like that.
Nice.
And I was
Good to work.
super confident. I was sick all week the week prior, so I was just like so grateful to be healthy and be able to work out. I hadn't worked out for like a week, so I was like fiending to get back to it. And
Nice.
dude, it was amazing. I had my friend Ethan and my friend Dante, Dante, they showed up,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
felt good to have like people from my circle too. That helps make me comfortable. But
Yeah, awesome.
it was a really fit circle, and it was a brutal one. Everyone was like, "Holy shit, you killed me" at the end of it. But it
Nice.
was also like just enough where it was like, oh, that was fun, but like that was very challenging. And all the people there were like people who were like just as fit, if not more fit than me, like some big gym heads. So, and then
But
afterwards,
nice.
everyone like has been texting me like on Sunday and Monday, or Sunday and today. People have been like, "Yo, thank you so much." Like this is the type of thing people would charge like $60 for an hour per person for, and the fact that you
Mm,
guys are doing this for free is like so amazing. In the future, we're gonna have it's gonna be donation based, so we want to make it where we can like give some back to Philly and to make sure that like youth are getting access to like workout equipment and things of that nature, because that's what we're really doing it for. We're not trying to profit off of this really.
right.
If
I like it.
So bro, it was amazing, and yeah, I'm excited to. I think it's gonna be like a big movement now. Like everyone who came, I feel like it's gonna be like threefold when we do the next one in June, because everyone had like positive things to say and wants to bring people. So it was great.
So when's the next one? When
Um,
not next week, the week after?
it might be yeah, I think not Memorial Day weekend, so it'll probably be like that second week of June, or whatever. But yeah,
Oh,
I'll definitely reach out to you whenever we're planning that.
yeah, no, that's awesome. That's good to hear. I'm glad it went well. It was a good turnout.
Yeah.